There often are questions about choosing Drunken Sailor, and today with the gap down, it will lead you to believe that Drunken Sailor should shift down. Sometimes that's true, but in general, we try to hold Drunken Sailor at whatever the structure is telling us. A couple things about Drunken Sailor. The transition is really important, and this is auto-generated by the system. The white line is or white box here is the gamma transition, and then we superimpose manually, at least for right now, the dex or the delta transition, and they're coincident today. And you can see that I've drawn the Drunken Sailor here in yellow, and it spans the transition. That generally is the case that we look for. We want the lower Drunken Sailor range to be below the transition, and we want the upper Drunken Sailor range to be above transition. So one of the reasons that we picked this strike here at 60.50 and the other strike, the upper strike at 61.30, fairly significant amount of OI, net OI at these areas. Structure is structure is structure. The net OI is important, and for anyone to say that OI is not important really is missing some really important analysis in structure analysis. That said, 3000, this is going to be, in this particular case, there's a gradient to walk up to that. You can see we got 809s, 1637, 1412, 1900, and then 3000. So we have this gradient coming up here. So it makes sense if you think of a ball being pushed up a mountain. You've got this gradient from a low to high, and this is a natural area where we would see Drunken Sailor to the upside. To the downside, we're always looking for a sign change. That's generally important. And so call dominated up here, put dominated down here, and you can see that we've got, another 3000, but to the put control on this side, and we're coming out of a, kind of a mixed area in the transition, and then we walk right down into a fairly significant level here. Now, it doesn't matter that we're implied to open way down here. It doesn't matter at all in terms of the Drunken Sailor. We're just opening below the lower DS, and so that's important. So in choosing DS, try to span transition, try to get a mental picture of the net OI and those gradients that I was talking about here, and just take a look and keep spanning upward until you see a peak, and just give it a look-see to see, does it make sense that we would see something that could peak out here and peak out here, and if we were in this area, you would have that proverbial span of the transition and kind of that bowl that would be created here. Now, the fact that we're gapping down here, or indicated gap down here today, is completely irrelevant, and I want to make sure that's very, very clear. Where spot price is going does not necessarily have to be anywhere near the transition here. I do look for, though, to see how is transition going to move. This is a separate analysis. How will transition move as we push lower or as we gap up? And today we're going to push down fairly significantly into a very put-dominated area. Transition at best, we might see P-trans go right to here at the 59.85 strike. And that'll be the last chance it'll have to do that for the reasons that you can see here. Everything is just put-dominated. So with that being said, I wouldn't get too wrapped around the axle about trying to re-jigger where Drunken Sailor is. We're certainly going to open below, and we're in a put-dominated area. We will move around in this area, and we'll have to take a look after the open exactly what it lays out. But I do expect the white box to draw in this particular area, and it's going to be very tight. I expect it to be literally the 59.80, 85, which will be the new transition after the open, and then I would expect to see this range right in here being somewhere of the lower with the new lower DS. You could take right here around the 59.50. There's minus 6,000 contracts sitting right there that are put dominated. Below that level, you can see things get really, really dicey all the way on down to about 5,900. So with all that said, hopefully this will give you a little bit of insight into how to think about transitions, think about drunken sailor, and how to do that in the context of a pending gap up or gap down.